What happens when love outlives the person it was meant for, when the lines between memory and obsession blur, when a man decides that reality itself should bend to his will, rather than accept what is lost. Two men standing at the edge of their worlds, two husbands who lost the women they loved, and two stories that might have defined how you understood grief as you grew up. Gendo Ikari and James Sunderland became the perfect mirrors of our own struggles with loss, guilt, and the desperate need to rewrite our pasts. Let's start with James Sunderland. If you played Silent Hill 2 back in 2001, maybe on your PlayStation 2, in a dark bedroom, with the volume low so your parents wouldn't hear, you remember him well. The man who drives to a foggy resort town after receiving a letter from his wife Mary.
I got a letter. The name on the envelope said Mary. My wife's name.
Opening lines that set up one of gaming's most profound psychological journeys. James isn't a typical horror protagonist. He's not a cop. He's just a man broken by loss, wandering into a nightmare. What made Silent Hill 2 revolutionary wasn't its monster or jump scares. It was how the town itself became a manifestation of James' psyche. Every creature he faces, every location he visits, every character he meets, they're all reflections of guilt, his desires, his failed attempts to process grief. Remember Pyramid Head, that hulking helmeted executioner? He wasn't just a cool monster design that would later become the franchise's mascot. He was James' own guilt, made flesh. His desire for punishment, his need for someone to judge him for what he'd done. This idea that the external world could be shaped by internal trauma wasn't just innovative for horror games. Silent Hill 2 suggested that our worst enemies were the parts of ourselves we couldn't face. Now, let's shift to Gendo Ikari. If you discovered Evangelion during its original run or on True Adult Swim broadcasts in the early 2000s, Gendo presented a different kind of horror. Not the lost soul wandering through fog, but the calculating mastermind. Like James, Gendo lost his wife, Ikari, absorbed into Evangelion Unit 1 during a contact experiment, leaving behind a husband and young son. But while James descended into denial and delusion, Gendo ascended into power and control. He took command of nerve, he manipulated governments, children, and the very future of humanity, all for one purpose: to be reunited with Yui, regardless of the cost. This wasn't grief as personal nightmare, this was grief as world-ending obsession. What makes this character so fascinating to compare is how their environments reflect their psychology. Silent Hill transforms itself for James, becoming a manifestation of his guilty conscience. The foggy streets, the abandoned apartments, the nightmarish hospital, all of it shapes itself around this specific trauma. The town isn't just haunted, it's actively participating in James' reckoning. Every monster was meaningful, every location symbolic. Pyramid Head represented James' desire for punishment. The mannequins with their twisted female forms reflected his repressed sexuality and objectification of women. Abstract Daddy confronted him with the horrors of abuse. It suggested that our inner demons could take physical form. Evangelion does something eerily similar with its angels. The angels function much like Silent Hill's monsters. They are psychological as much as physical challenges. Each angel forces the pilots to confront different aspects of their humanity and trauma. And at the center of it all is Nerve Headquarters, Gendo's domain. The massive underground complex, with its layers of security and secrecy, mirrors Gendo's own compartmentalized emotions. The Evangelion units themselves, biological machines containing the souls of mothers, are perfect metaphors for how both James and Gendo refuse to let go. They keep the dead alive in monstrous forms, rather than accept their loss. For a generation coming of age in the shadow of 9/11, these stories resonated in ways their creators might never have anticipated. They gave us a vocabulary for understanding how personal pain could reshape entire worlds. The most fascinating connections between these stories emerge when we map their monsters and metaphors directly onto each other. The lying figure with its straitjacket body mirrors Sakiel, the first angel we see in Evangelion. Both are introductory traits that set the tone. Disorienting, unnerving, neither fully explained. They exist to shake the protagonist out of complacency and into a new, more dangerous reality. Pyramided in Silent Hill 2 functions remarkably like Evangelion's Angel Zeruel. Remember that moment when Pyramided takes care of the two mannequins, or when Zeruel decimates Unit 0 and Unit 2 without hesitation? Both represent raw, inescapable violence. Pyramided is James' executioner, relentless and unstoppable. Zeruel is the brute force angel, tearing through nerves' defenses to force a confrontation. Abstract Daddy parallels Arael, the Angel of Light. Abstract Daddy represents sexual trauma in Silent Hill's narrative. Arael psychically invades Asuka's mind, exposing her deepest wounds. Both monsters force characters to relieve pain they desperately want to forget. Both men are just mourning their wives. They are refusing to accept a world without them, and both are willing to distort reality itself rather than face their loss. For James, this means creating a psychological hell where he can be punished and potentially redeemed. For Gendo, it means initiating the Human Instrumentality project. In an era before mental health was openly discussed, these stories gave us a vocabulary for understanding how grief could transform a person. What makes both Silent Hill 2 and Evangelion enduring classics isn't just their innovative storytelling or memorable imagery, it's how they use horror and science fiction to explore deeply human experiences. Both Silent Hill 2 and Evangelion ultimately ask the same devastating question: what happens when grief becomes obsession, when love becomes possession?